Is it terrible that, like, as you counted me in, I needed to burp, and I was like, do I wait for him to finish and then burp, or like burp before the count? And I couldn't decide.
No, you should have done it like as soon as the countdown was done. Give it like 1 second and then start, because that's where it's going to fade in. So it's just going to fade in your burp.
Fade in on a burp. That's going to be
Imagine
the
a script
new technique.
that starts that way. Homer Simpson burp fades in.
Homer Simpson burp fades in. Stage left. Optional bath. That's like one of the things that you can unlock. That's the Patreon tier right there.
Oh, fuck.
Is the bath intro.
You get to hear all the bullshit. Like,
holy moly.
The fucking 5 to sometimes 20 minutes of bullshit that we go through before we actually record these. We should record all that too if we ever do Patreon. Like, here, you can listen to us be disorganized. You can see how fucking...
exactly.
Like, just how haphazardly the script is thrown together. This is how...
Like, I you know, I'm not under the impression that anyone believes that we're the most organized podcast hosts.
What
right?
do you mean?
Like, I don't think anyone in the comments is sitting there going like, man, these guys have got their shit
They're
together.
so well put together. Like, it's just...
It's well researched, like, they're just cream.
Perfect.
Like, no, it's for us, it's... How did they manage to cobble this shit together? It's like...
What do you mean? We've got like 7 talking points and an intro typed up that I haven't read yet.
Man, if the Joe Rogan podcast is a Lexus, we're a go-kart piloted by a drunk monkey held together with staples and sticky tape. We're barely making it.
I feel like we're one of those things. You know, you see the like downhill fucking carts and people make all sorts of weird shaped fucking bullshit.
Box rate cardboard.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like we're one of those
about.
things, but made out of like, where like it... At first glance, it looks like it's put together properly. Like it's made out of wood. It's like nice and... You know, it's got a proper shape, but then you get up close and you see that like you've taken like these old shitty planks of wood that are splitting apart and you've used steel staples to put them together instead of nails or glue or anything. Like you've just gone fucking clunk,
yes,
clunk.
Exactly.
The first thing that it hits with any sort of reasonable speed, it's going to collapse and fall apart.
It's going to splinter.
It's going to fly to pieces. It's going to explode. Like splinter car bomb.
Splinter car bomb? Jesus. Sounds like something that belongs in Iran, not Australia.
Well, before we go too far with that, let's welcome to NULLSCORE, the podcast where we record and upload every single week without fail. My name's Jim, and this is my co-host, Halal Snack Pack. How does it feel being one of the top meals of choice for bogans and drunks?
Okay, thank you for recognition. The HSP is the greatest meal when you are drunk. I have been fighting for HSP recognition for years now. 2, how does it feel? Honestly, I feel like being a snack pack would be one of the worst feelings of all time. Because, first of all, not only do you have some, like, cooked gremlin hunched over you looking down at you, right? Like, have you ever seen those memes where it's like... It's like what she sees and what he sees, and like he's looking down and she's got like her eyes up. She looks really pretty, and then it's like what she sees is the guy's like.
What she sees is like or every single picture of like mid-40s divorcee on MySpace selfie, except he doesn't have his polo shirt on. Just
yes, and from a very low
chest,
angle.
Yeah, even lower angle when they take their selfies.
Yeah, exactly. So for one, you have that, but also just all the contents of an HSP is like meaty, oily, cheesy, like saucy, kind of like that's an uncomfortable feeling as just like as a person. I know right now it's very hot in my office, so I keep like wiping my forehead
as well. Yeah.
But bro, being an actual HSP would be actually one of the worst. I'm trying to think of what a good food to be. Would be like what food, if you could be any food, what would be the most comfortable food to be? And
is it worse to be in the pack for the entire duration of your existence until you're finished being devoured, or is it worse to be, you know, the drunk, what'd you say, the gremlin hunching over you, gets halfway through it,
yes, exactly.
And they're walking around stumbling back, trying to figure out where they're staying or where their car is or whatever. And they trip
so you got the open
fling the entire fucking HSP all over the footpath, like, or onto the road. Like, is that worse? Your entire being just being scattered in 100 directions.
Look, to be honest,
Which one?
Other than like instead of being like a steamy oil pile, I'm gonna take the obliteration. I'll be straight up.
I'm free now.
Like-
It's over.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kicking the stool out from under me. Just like set me into the
Kicking the
road.
stool out from-
Oh my
Can just direct a little bit more of this
jeez.
grease into that hole in the corner where they're holding me. Maybe
Yes.
the grip will loosen and they'll drop me on the fucking ground.
That's it. That's
Just
my,
please not
that's
into the
my
pile of vomit.
goal.
onto the dry bits.
You find like you can imagine all the like horrible places you could land.
Yeah, because like this,
imagine
the
landing,
setting in which
imagine landing on
this HSP you've described is being devoured. These aren't clean streets. This is not a footpath that's
No.
been recently swept or cleaned. This is like
No.
This is 1-2 a.m. All the fucking bars are around. All the drunk assholes have already
Yep.
made their way
Yep.
like across this and thrown up everywhere and dropped drinks and had fights. There's all sorts of fucking blood and shit on the ground.
Yeah. Blood. Gee, I was gonna go with puke and pee, but blood. You're in some rough
when you
streets,
come
my dude.
when you come to if you ever come to Perth once pandemic restrictions have been lifted because we can't say the C word or else our fucking YouTube basically
Oh, yeah.
hides our video.
That's true. And as Australian podcasters usually get pulled up for a different C word, but
Yeah.
that only one of them will get you demonetized,
Yeah,
which is
strange.
kind of gnarly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take you for a fucking wander through Northbridge. We'll go in at like 6 to 7 when everything's okay. You see all the fucking slappers walking around in their clothes that say, "Look at me, but don't look at me. How dare you?" And everything's mostly okay. We'll stay for 2 or 3 hours, and then when we leave, you will see pure fucking chaos in the streets.
Can I just appreciate the fact that I've never been to where you live, right?
Yep.
Like I have no idea what these regions are like, but when you say to me, you go, "Let's go to Northbridge." I hear Northbridge and I know exactly the kind of place that it's like. Like just
The name.
just
the name.
From, yeah, exactly. It's like almost fancy but not, and you're like, "Oh, that's gonna be that's a puke filled street right
Well,
there. That is a puke and blood filled
Place
street."
that I went last night that I sent you the video of. It's styled as an
Yeah.
old like Prohibition era bar. So
Describe it for people listening, like the thing you said. Because so Jim was basically, I said, "Hey man, I've got a super busy day today, and I'll fill you in on what I did today because it was like a full on adventure, right?" But after that, I was like, "Hey man, I'm going to be free for podcast around about this time. Is that cool?" You sent me a video, which is just a bar with like someone yelling in the background, just going like, "Wow,"
that
or
was
something
that
like
was
that.
quiet. That was when I got there. That was quiet compared to how it got. the
Wow,
next hour or so.
really?
Yeah, it was insane. It's fucking noisy.
Yeah, and there was like huge rows and rows of bottles. So explain what the bar looks like.
There's got to be 200
because
to 300 odd different rums there.
There
a
were a lot of bottles.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There were a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And
I mean, you can look the place up. It's called Sneaky Tony's. It's not hard to find it.
Sneaky Tonys.
Yeah, so it's kind of hidden. It's actually kind of hidden because it's themed after like Prohibition era stuff where the bars were, they were small and they were hidden away because they were illegal.
Yeah. What is it? Speakeasy? Is that what they're
I
called?
suppose, yeah. I think that's what they're called. I don't know, man.
Speakeasy.
It was actually kind of annoying to find, to be honest. It's behind. There's a whole bunch of like. This is where I was going with
Yeah, a
this.
place where alcoholic beverages are illegally sold, specifically such a place during the period of prohibition in the US. Yeah, so speakeasy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah.
There you go.
Where it is
Anyway, go on.
it's hidden in an alley at an intersection. This alley
Right.
intersects between like 4 other fucking places. Really, like there's all out on the streets. There's places with fucking lights everywhere, cars and shit. Turn into an alley that looks like the kind of place. If you were there,
You get
in
you get mugged.
it's a place to get mugged or raped or maybe both. That's what it fucking looks like.
The order we're not really concerned about.
Could-
It's just that will happen. That's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah. Mugged, raped,
Holy
murdered.
moly.
Reverse order preferable because at
Sauce,
least
man.
if you die first, you don't have to deal with the other 2 afterwards. You don't have to live any amount of time knowing that those things have happened to you. Anyway,
Oh no.
so there's a little door with like one of those slidey fucking peephole things. You have to walk up to it and you press a buzzer like a button. You don't hear anything.
Yeah.
You wait what feels like an eternity. Somebody slides the thing open and just says password and looks at you with like fucking beady eyes. You say the password, and then they open.
So there's a password. Did you have to like look up the password before?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Don't give away the password.
It doesn't matter.
Like,
it's different. It
people-
changes every day. It's on their Facebook page.
Oh,
Like, that's part
well,
of it.
okay. Well, what was? Oh, I see. Okay, so what was the password for your?
I'm
night?
with Tony.
I'm with
That was the
Tony.
password,
All right, got it. Yep. All right, and so you say the password, and then you go, "This is cool
open
as
the door
man."
and
I
they let
didn't
you in.
realize it was like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple other like kind of
Yeah.
hidden bars as well. They're actually behind like place I was at last week and week before that. Two different places, but they're in the same alley. Similar thing. They're in an alleyway behind like on the front facing like the main road there. The front facing buildings that they're behind is this huge place that is apparently a strip club. I didn't even know that was there. I was like walking.
apparently?
Well, that's what it fucking looks like. I didn't go in because I'm like, this is not the place I'm looking for. But I'm walking back and forth because the maps is telling me that these fucking bars are right here. So I'm walking back and forth in front of this strip club entrance, looking like I want to go in, but I don't want anyone to see me and judge me for going into the strip club. But I'm looking for a bar that's actually behind it in the alleyway.
you imagine people walking up and they're like, "God, he's despicable."
I did get
You're
a
sitting
few
there on your
looks.
phone,
Like,
you're
dude,
like, "Where is it?"
There's a few people looking at me, and I know they're thinking, like, dude, just go in. No one fucking cares.
Just go in.
Just go in there.
No one-
You want to see some titties? That's fine. Go in the strip club. No one gives a fuck. You're in Northbridge.
You're like,
but that's
"That's not
legitimately
what I'm
not.
after,
Yeah,
I just
I was
want-
holding my phone up and looking confused, like, fuck. Ended up calling like a friend because I know that he knew how to get in there. I was like, how the fuck do I get into this place? He's
Right.
like, where are you? I'm looking at a strip club. All right. So then he directed me to the alley behind. I'm like, oh, all right. If only they had directions on their website or something. They don't tell
Wouldn't
you.
it be good if your mate's just like, "Yeah, no, that's
Go
it."
into
Like,
the
he just
strip
say-
club
just sends you,
and then and just gets me to say some dumb shit to him, like as if that's a password, and then just
you imagine like you get like a lap dance or something. The girl's like, "So,
not
what do
what
you
I
want?" And you're sitting there wide-eyed. You're like, "I'm with Tony." Like, what?
no, these are different places, but yeah. There's a few bars like that are just like kind of hidden away behind things, and they're annoying to get to if you haven't
Yeah.
been there before. They're just shitty to try and find.
Right.
But I don't know. It's kind of good, I
Gotcha.
guess, because it stops randoms from just walking in there. Like you really have to be looking for this specific place. Like the other two I'm talking about. One's called Alabama Song, which is just a shitload of whiskeys and bourbons, just lots of American whiskeys.
Yep.
The other one was Mechanics Institute, which is also a lot of whiskey and stuff, but they're along the same alleyway. It just keeps, I suppose, people who aren't interested in that stuff away. Like, you have to really want to go to these places to bother figuring out how to get to them. The guy who's just after a
That's what
fucking
I'm
pint
sort
of
of saying,
export
yeah.
or something, he's not going to go to any
No.
effort to find these places. He's going to, fuck it, I'll just go to the place on the corner here that I can see.
Exactly. I'll sort myself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
Yeah.
place,
So you went to-
derailed myself. This place, so speakeasy, rum bar, very fucking
Yep,
loud.
Yep.
I don't know what else do you want to fucking know? Like, I feel like the video that I sent you was kind of, that's what it was, man. It was downstairs, hidden away, hot as fuck, no windows,
Yeah.
aircon that I'm pretty
And
sure they weren't
that's-
running.
Jesus
I was fucking
Christ.
sweating the whole time.
And that's actually, closing that loop, because the reason we got into that was I said, "Hey, I'm going to be late." And you were like, you sent me that video and then you go, you said, "Yeah, it gives me more time to feel alive." And I was like, must have been a rough night.
Well, they had stuff
coming
that's
up.
kind of either expensive or hard to find, and they just had bottles there, so I got to try a bunch of rums that I haven't.
So you
before.
were just like, "I would like to try all of the things."
Well, I did.
please."
I tried some Navy strength rums, which are 57%, and a few other things, but most of the
Ooh.
things that I tried were neat. So,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
don't.
Jesus.
They don't serve a lot of food. One of the options, we were debating it for fucking ages before one of the people I was with, she was her turn to go get rounds, so she bought food.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
a plate that had, I don't know, like maybe one full pack of the Jats fucking crackers. Like one of the full tube or whatever the fuck you'd want to call them. And a little bowl of French onion dip, which now I assumed at first, I was like, there's no way they're charging this price if it's going to be just like one of the little plastic tub ones that you can get from Coles for like $1, because this is like $2 or $3 worth of stuff. And they're asking this price for it.
This is the best marketing. I can't imagine. You imagine being a bar. They're like, yeah, we're going to be a really high end, speak easy, like big vibe. Like you're going to have a secret password to get in. And then they're like, all right,
here's your
cool.
food options.
What are we going to do for food?
Do you want some fucking
It's like,
Jats and French onion dip, you piece of shit? Here.
He's like, hey man, are we gonna do like fried food? Are we gonna do like American,
fried
like
food.
you know, crunch, like some like you know some hot dogs? Are we gonna do like some chips? You know, maybe some like curly fries, like prohibition. Maybe we'll do like you know some like bullshit like schnitzel or something. Nah, dude, hit them with the Jats and the French onion dip, like that shit that your nan brings to Christmas.
Yeah.
That's
legitimately, that's what it
what
was.
we're
It was
gonna
a
give
plate
them.
with the fucking Jats or Ritz or whichever. I can't even remember now because I just remember I couldn't stop laughing at it. It was just so ridiculous. I was at,
You know what?
I didn't even pay for it, and I felt ripped off.
You know what it needs? It needs the carrot sticks and the like cabana pieces.
Or like carrot sticks and celery sticks. So your choice of two crunchy options. One's more watery than the other.
Exactly, yeah, and your Jets. There's always one person at the table who's like, "Why'd you get Jets? Why didn't you get Ritz?
Yeah, why didn't you
mate?
get Ritz?
Why didn't you get Ritz?"
Man.
What about Clicks,
this
mate?
might be a fucking... Yeah, exactly. This might be a controversial thing to say, but honestly, who gives a fuck which one of those you get? They're so similar that it doesn't fucking matter. If you're going to be dipping it into cheap French onion dip, honestly, they're both just as likely to snap and break while you're dipping them if it's not like loose enough, if the dip is like cold. Oh, by the way, the dip was like... I swear what they've done is they've scooped it out of one of those plastic containers, like the $1 or $2 ones, put it in a little like ceramic bowl so it looks fancier, and then chucked it in the fridge so that it's set like properly. And that's it.
Yeah.
So this is like $2 or $3 worth of ingredients, and they asked $10. $10 for that.
Oh my god, that's a markup, baby.
Isn't it?
That's what you want,
isn't it?
Holy shit!
Well, I mean, look, they've got to charge labor for someone to open a box of Jats and fucking dump it onto the plate, and also the time that it took them to scoop out, you know, the dip out of the plastic, because you don't want the plastic container, the fucking the one that has the Woolies sticker still on the side of it.
Well, that's the thing. You're also forgetting the trip to Woolies. Like some employee has to walk over to Woolies as labor cost
because delivery isn't a fucking option. They're too hidden. The delivery driver would never be able to find the fucking entrance. Imagine being a Woolies driver and they're like, yeah, it's this place. They give you the address. He goes there and like all the fucking doors and everything are boarded up. Like all the windows outside are blacked out and like there's no. It looks like an abandoned building from the outside. It looks like nothing is there.
I would love to know what it's like. Like people that live not even like in a sketchy neighborhood, but just like way out of town. Like what it's like for Uber drivers to have to deliver to those kinds of places. Like somebody that lives, you know, and so like, you know, like the edge of their radius, right? Like some guy who's got like I'm thinking about like a guy with like a 2-3 kilometer driveway. That's the kind of the person I'm thinking of, like a farmstead of some description.
It's interesting you say that. I'll let you finish and then I'm going to add something to this. Go on.
Well, I just wonder as an Uber driver whether they're like driving up to their house and they're like, this is definitely the point at which I die. Like this is the scene in the horror film.
This is the night
where some
this is
guy,
the last night
exactly.
of my life.
There's a guy on a hill with a sniper, or someone's going to invite me into the house.
It's not going to be that
and stab me.
No, it's not going to be that fucking. Like that's too advanced. There's going to be a guy standing behind a bush with a fucking piece of pipe or something, or a trolley pole waiting for you to get out. Like the handle out of the shopping trolley.
Hurl an axe at me.
I'm going to get flogged to death with a fucking trolley pole. What a way to go.
Jesus Christ. Could you imagine?
Well, some of them have like a steel backing. Most of them are plastic, but some have a little steel pole inside.
Wouldn't that be good if they did that for the Australian operator in Warzone? They're like, yeah, comes with his own melee weapon, a Woolies trolley pole.
Woolies trolley pole.
He's dropping in. He's like,
fucking
"Oi,
hell.
mate, did you get the Ritz?" Poof.
A fucking motorbike skin, changes it to a shopping trolley, and he just hangs off the back of it and motorized shopping trolley.
That's it. Yeah. Or when he gets in like one of the Humvees, it turns into like a certified shitbox commo. That would be so good.
Different panels, different coloured panels.
Holy bollocks.
Randomizes each time too.
Hey, look, bro, that was a tangent I did not expect to get taken.
I hope I get one with the red one.
I was holding on to that conversational trolley for dear life. That was a wild ride.
So what I was about to say about the Uber delivery drivers, I'm pretty sure one of the places I lived before, one of the delivery services, we were within their radius.
Right.
But for some reason, because I remember testing this out, they would deliver 2 minutes down the road to one of the other, like the next suburb, even though it was within the radius. Same radius that my house was in.
So they would deliver items that were supposed to go to your house to another house 2 minutes away.
But not to my address.
Well,
So
I don't.
I
So
wonder
just
if
a random house would get your food.
no. I mean, I'm saying that like if I lived the same distance but in next suburb over, this place would have delivered. I think it's because of the suburb I was in. They were like, we're not sending our drivers there. That's it. That whole suburb is blacklisted.
Oh my god! They've had too many incidents.
Too many in that
one suburb.
No, fuck it. Our drivers aren't safe there.
Yeah, no, just don't send them in, boys. Don't send them in. Oh god, I can imagine that would be so. That would be Jesus Christ. As an Uber driver, you're like, yeah, I'm going to die delivering this pizza. This is how I go out. This is my legacy right now. Is me getting killed while delivering the pizza. Holy
so this
fuck.
kind of fits in with our like past jobs thing that we have here. Do you want to go to that next, or do you want to go to one of the other things that are here?
No. I think the past jobs is a cool one. So we were having a talk about this before the podcast started, but we just wanted to kind of to reminisce on old jobs that we had, because you got a new job recently.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, tell me how that went down first, and then we can take a trip down memory lane with old jobbery.
I applied for a heap of fucking jobs. I had I don't know how many interviews. I feel like I was going to a job interview every day or every second day for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Can we also talk about how shit job hunting is?
It's not.
Like
it's
job
not for what I'm doing.
hunting is not for what you're doing.
There are a
Okay,
there are
for
a lot of
me-
people with forklift tickets, man, but the vast majority of them are not very. Look, there's a reason that there's so many memes around people with forklift, like being forklift certified.
You're an elite level. What was that? It was like, have you chased your dreams, or are you forklift certified or something like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking dipshits that can drive a forklift. I know. And I say that,
But you not.
that's like the same thing as there's a lot of people that can drive cars on the road, but like to the level that a monkey could drive a fucking car, you know, like.
There's a lot of people that shouldn't drive cars on the road,
drive, or should have to go for yearly reviews. Like, do you remember this shit? This thing that you've been doing for the last year? That's not what you were taught. Fucking do it properly. You need a refresher, or you hand your license in.
Christ.
Forklift drivers are very much the same. For the vast majority of them are not very fucking good. I've been driving for almost 10 years forklifts, and I have no at fault incidences. No damage that was at my fault. I have nothing. I have no close calls.
Right.
I haven't fucking come close to hitting anyone or any vehicles or any stock. Nothing like that. So
Because you're doing it properly.
because I'm not a fucking idiot. I know I look like one. But that's a choice that I make. That's not because I am.
Yeah, exactly. That's something I could fix.
Yeah, I could change that if I really fucking
out.
wanted to. Like I could shave my beard off and cut my hair back again, but I look like a fucking white supremacist, and I don't like. I feel like the homeless look is better than white supremacist. Those are the only two things that I have.
Those are the two options you have in life.
This is the lesser evil. This is the one that.
I love that. I love that you've gone and you've been like, look, both of these are shit, but we got to make a decision.
Yeah. At least if I'm working a full-time job and like I can show people, yeah, look, no, I have a contract to have a house be built. I'm not homeless. I work.
Yep.
So this is just how I look. But yeah.
Yep.
So it's not hard to find good paying jobs that require forklift license, for me at least, because I'm not a fucking idiot and I have a good record, and I'd been at my last place for 8 years, 8 months, 9 months, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So heaps.
So yeah, I actually got a pretty good, like, for what I'm doing, it's pretty well paid and it's salary, and I also have a company vehicle and a fuel card, so I don't have to pay for my fuel and shit anymore.
Damn, dude, nice.
So yeah, step up.
I think. Wait.
And you asked how that went. Yeah, I did a bunch of interviews, 2 or 3 weeks. A few places offered me jobs. This was the one that I was like, well, I'll take that one because like that's the best, I guess.
Had the best offer.
the guy that I was, when I was doing the interview with him, when he said, "So why are you looking to leave?" I said, "Well, realistically, because I'm getting bored there. I'm not utilizing enough of my skill set or brains. And I want more money.
Yeah,
so I have a 7-year-old kid. I have a mortgage now. I'm building a house. I want more money." And he's like, "That's actually really refreshing and to hear that honesty." He said, "Most people give these answers." And I said, "Well, no, I'm not going to lie to you. Like this transaction is you buying my time off me." And exactly. That's what this is. Yeah. That's what a fucking job is.
That's what this is. I'm not here driving fucking forklifts because I'm like, you know what? I'm really passionate about moving.
I was
crates.
gonna follow my dreams, but instead I got forklift certified and figured out that I just really get a kick out of driving forklifts. So that's what I stuck with.
And now forklift driving is my dream. Take that, meme makers.
Yeah.
Picking things up and putting them down. That's the Australian dream for me, baby.
Shifting pallets around, ugly freight. It's the fucking best.
They call me the pallet prince of Persia.
Nothing better than moving a crate around.
I want to run that back. Not the pallet prince of Persia, the pallet prince of Perth. Can I just say?
No, that better not stick. Fuck's sake.
3P. That's it. Get a Titan 3P emote.
Fucking hell.
Holy moly.
So anyway,
so that's the new job.
Yeah. So that's the new job. I drive the ute around for them, and I drive their forklift, and yeah, that's what I would break it down to.
Solid
going into like boring to anything too boring. I've left early, like 20 minutes odd to half hour early most days, because it's salary paid. I pretty much just go to the boss towards the end of the day. I'm like, "Is there anything else you want me to do?" And he's like, "Nah, there's nothing going on. You can go home." All right then, fuck it.
Cheers.
See ya.
Cool. Thanks. Bye.
I basically accepted that job, handed in 2 and a bit weeks notice at my old job. And the same day, I had the 2 bosses higher up for me basically saying to me, "What the fuck? Why are you going?" I was like, "Well, I've spent the last 2-3 years telling you guys that I expect, I had a verbal agreement to, not be stuck at this site doing this job forever, or, being paid appropriately for it. And nothing has happened from that. So I found an opportunity somewhere else. You told me that there would be no opportunities to move up here for the foreseeable future. So I found one someplace else." They
went and made my own.
Well, yeah, I suppose. One of the bosses asked me, "Just give me a day or 2, and I'll see if what I can offer you to stay." I'm like, "You're gonna get nothing. I know what that's gonna be, because I know that the higher up boss than you doesn't like me. He's not going to allow you to give me anything to stay, even though there's no one-to-one replacement for me. He's still not going to, just because that's how he is. He's just
a spiteful
extremely stubborn and spiteful. Yeah, he's just like that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, no worries, do what you need to. I'd already accepted the other job. I mean, you can back out of shit like that though. Like, you've got the 3-month fucking probation thing. You can just part ways. But I locked it in because I knew I was going to take it. I knew I was leaving. There was no way they were going to be able to offer me anything to make me stay. Certainly nothing that was going to come close to what I'd been offered at the other place.
Right. Did they end up coming back with?
He came back Monday and he said, "Look, you're right. They don't have anything for you." I was like, I know that. He said, "But we really don't want you to leave. we've got a spot for you at the new depot. I was like, well, not really. Like what you've got is more of the same or less of the same, because what my job is going to be split up to, different departments, because you're not going to have one person on site. You're going to have a shitload of people on site. And he said, oh, but it will still be level 4. I'm like, okay, so it's no progression. It's the same as it's the same pay and everything as what I'm getting now. He's like, yeah, but it's closer to home.
Okay, so he gave you kind of the same job that you're already doing. That's what I understand.
He was trying to say that it will be the same job that I'm doing. It will be less work and closer to home, but for the same money. Now I know how they work. There is no chance that would have been happening. It would have been, this role no longer exists. We need less. We require less from you. This role is now redundant. It's now a level less than what you were on before. That's what would have happened. There's no way that they won't do that. So you think that they
were setting you up temporarily?
Well, yeah, because they didn't want me to go. They needed me to keep doing that job for now. I just called it and said, look, I'm not going to accept that. I know that you're lying. You're either lying or you're telling me things that you cannot, you don't actually have the decision-making power for that. That's not up to you. Those decisions are made above your head. And there is no way the people above you are going to say, let's keep this guy on for more than we have to pay him to do this role. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
What business would do that?
Nah.
The workers want the most amount of money for the least amount of work. Businesses want to pay the least amount they can for the most amount of work out of the workers. That's how it works. That's just it.
Yeah.
Because it's more efficient for them. Why would they pay way more than they have to?
I think in an industry like that, it definitely is.
Yeah, because you're seen as replaceable.
Inherent. Well, that's the thing. And there's no inherent value in the person, only value in the work. Mm-hmm. So in my industry, it's the opposite. So the people that work for you is very important, because lawyers make their money through reputation. So if you have some, gun lawyer that has been smashing out company contracts for this one business for 10, 15 years, it doesn't matter what firm that guy works at. That company's going to find where that guy works, and they're going to go with that guy. So he brings all the work in, right? But if you're driving forklifts and doing that sort of stuff, they don't care how the pallet got from the place it wasn't supposed to be to the place that it should be. They just care that it was done.
Yep.
And it was done in a horribly dangerous manner.
So, and that makes sense on paper. That makes sense. I completely understand that. At the same time, those decisions are not made by people who work in the warehouse and see what goes on. So they don't understand that it makes a huge fucking difference. The person who is sitting on that forklift, moving that pallet from A to B. Because you want a person who can move thousands of fucking pallets from A to B quickly and efficiently and safely and without damage, without any damage to equipment, damage to stock, damage to people, injuries. Because when you have a bunch of
just damage, keep the damage down.
When you have a bunch of dumbasses that you're paying, the lowest amount of money, those are the ones you're going to get. You're going to get the ones that can't get the higher paid jobs elsewhere. Because they can't, they're not good at their job.
Pay for peanuts idea.
Well, yeah.
Pay for peanuts.
Yep.
Yeah. So wrapping this all back around, because we were talking about jobs and then we got very distracted with your job and your boss's very interesting hiring approaches.
It's the counter offer. I put this in the script, but the counter offer was basically, we're not going to give you anything extra, but please don't anyway. All right.
And you're like, listen, man, it's been fun.
I think I will continue. I think I will go through with leaving, actually.
Jesus. So, what was your first job?
My first job, I went straight into full-time work. I was, I worked at the Cash Converters Furniture in Perth. There was
you worked in the Cash Converters?
Well, not a Cash Converters. I did work at another Cash Converters, a regular one, but that was a while after. My first job was at a furniture one, which I don't know if they ever operated over east. They did here. There was 3 stores. There's now only one.
Yeah, I've not heard of this. So how does Cash Converters Furniture Store work?
They had
I mean,
a
I've
little
got
truck.
a kind of idea in my head.
They had a little truck.
Right.
People would call up and say, "Yeah, I want to get rid of this bullshit that I don't need anymore." They would send us out in the truck, or people would turn up with it in the back of their ute or on a trailer or whatever. Pretty much the same as the buyers and loans part of a regular cashies.
Right, but you just like they pay for pickup or something like that if you have to drive to go out to the house or something, and then you collect their old furniture and then resell it, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Go out there, look at the furniture, figure out how much you're going to offer them, how much you're going to be able to sell it for, and then pay them some money and take it, or they get offended and yell at you and you leave.
Okay, fair enough.
Happened a few times.
And did you get training for like valuing the items?
Absolutely none.
Like, did they say? Absolutely none. No. So they were just like, just by the seat of your pants, they were like, "Hey man, so
dude, I was 16,
like,
so I wasn't driving the truck. I was just sitting in the passenger seat, eating bad food and farting while the guy that I worked with drove the truck."
So you were just helping carrying stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was what your gig was.
Yep.
Right. Okay. All right.
That's how I learned. I learned so many fucking tricks about getting furniture in and out of houses. Like, because we did deliveries as well.
Really?
If people bought shit, we would deliver it like from the store to their house.
Okay.
There's just all these weird like little things that you don't think about until you're forced to move a couch that should not fit through any doorway, like single doorway. And you're like, oh.
And then you learn the secrets.
You learn how to do it.
The hidden arts.
Without damaging the doorways.
I feel like a lot of your work life is just don't cause damage. It's just like perform this task with the least amount of damage.
Do not fuck up. Don't break anything.
You must have been great as operation as a kid. Just like, do not touch the sides.
No, because I have shaky hands. I've always had shaky hands, like as long as I can remember.
Oh.
So no, I was terrible at operation and I hated it.
Jesus. So my first job was cafe work. I think I've
you briefly talked about it before.
Yeah. So I have a background in hospitality. So I worked in a number of... So the two jobs that I've had is I've worked in hospitality and I've worked in law. I've never worked like a retail job. Like I've never been like at a counter.
I can tell because you're still really like
sell.
chirpy and bright. Like you didn't... You haven't had your soul extracted from your body by customers.
Look, okay. Retail's really bad. Hospo's pretty bad as well. Like Hospo, you get some pretty gnarly people. But retail customers, I've definitely heard way more like terrible things.
I think because
like,
typically hospitality, like how long on average would you spend dealing with one customer in hospitality?
Maximum like 2 hours. Maximum.
Jesus Christ.
And that's like well, with one customer, I'm talking like they walk in and then they leave the place. Or are you talking about like just actually interacting with
them, being forced to interact.
Oh, okay. Actually interacting with someone. Like if you add up like taking orders and talking at the table, I would say maximum would be like 20 minutes. I think on a reasonably busy night, 20 minutes maximum. And that's like you talking to them when they walk in, sitting down, taking orders, having them up at the counter. Maybe like when you're there, you're joking as you're taking orders takes a really long time. I don't think people realize that. Like when you have a big table of like 12 people and you've got like a notepad. So I had like a pen and notepad. Like a lot of restaurants nowadays, they have like a tablet or something where you take orders, but it was pen and notepad for me.
I've been to a few places around here that actually, they come to your table, they dump a bottle, like a glass of water, a glass bottle of water, some glasses for you, and they just leave a tablet on your table and walk away. And you just order through the tablet. They're like, yeah, here, just...
And how good is that, by the way? That is like, as a customer, I love that shit. I love it. Even when the tablet's got like some horrible OS and it's like super like you click it and then it does something like 5 seconds later. I'm like,
it's okay when they work properly, but when there are things on the menu that are off screen, like it doesn't.
You gotta like...
something's wrong. Like the resolution is wrong, or aspect ratio or something. Something's fucked up, and like parts of what you want to click on are off the screen, inaccessible. You can't resize it. you have to talk to the fucking...
It's just so bad.
You have to call them over anyway.
So
I just love this one interaction. I don't want to interrupt for too long, but this one interaction I had where I had to call a waitress over and like, yeah, I want this thing, but like I can't press it because it's off the screen. And she's just like, she just stared at it for like 20 seconds and she's like, I'll just get you another tablet. Just walked off with it. She didn't have any idea. How do I deal with this? I'm not going to. I'm just going to bring another one.
I've never encountered this before. No one's ever ordered that item before. Yeah, so I had like a bunch of really cool stories. So my first job was a cafe it's where I live now in Toowoomba. It's called the Park House Cafe. Yep. And I kind of describe it as like, it wasn't like a small cafe. It's like a medium-sized cafe for a while. It was a restaurant. They did like night shift for a while. They've stopped doing it now, but it's like across a park. So there's like outdoor seating areas. I think we had something like 120 covers. So we could seat like 120 people.
Yep.
So it's pretty big. Like it's not a tiny cafe. It's not like a 6-table cafe, right? And like I have a bunch of stories from that place because I think that's actually the one place of employment I've worked at the longest. So I've worked in law longer now, I think, than I've worked in hospitality. But for any single business, Park House is the longest one I've worked at. I should be coming up pretty close with the company I'm with now because I've been with these guys for like coming over 2 years now. But I was at Park House for about 3-4 years all up. But I have one story, which is 15 Chip Guy, and that's on my YouTube channel.
15 Chip Guy.
15 Chip Guy, yeah. I'll retell. Maybe I'll retell 15 Chip Guy in a second. But my first ever day working at the cafe. So you have to appreciate me going out and getting jobs. I was like on my pushy, riding around town, handing out resumes. And it was really not a great image because I was like handing over these paper resumes after having rode around on a pushy. So I was like kind of sweaty and like a little bit out of breath.
This sweaty
like,
kid, he's like a bit red in the face.
Yeah.
Fucking crinkled up resumes that have been in his bag.
Yeah, exactly. And the owner was like, she called me up later and she's like, hey, do you want a job? And I was like, yeah, please. And she's like, have you ever worked before? I was like, no, I have like literally no experience. And she was like, okay, cool, we'll train you. And brought me in. First day, I got paired up with this woman who, you know how like, and by the way, this woman, I love her to bits, and she's like, she's one of the greatest people I've ever met. But on the first day that I was there, she scared the shit out of me. And the best way I can explain it is, you know how you go over to your mate's place and your mate has that mum who like yells at him for like any little thing, and you're in the other room and she's like yelling at him, and you're sat there like, oh no,
should I go
that was
home?
the vibe, right? yeah. So it was like this Kiwi woman with jet black hair and a haircut that said "fuck you," and I was like, oh, like it wasn't quite like a Karen, like stereotypical Karen haircut, but it was close.
Yeah,
like it was pretty close. And her job was basically just to make sure that I didn't die on my first shift. And I'll tell you right now, I was the worst waiter you have ever seen. Right, I was horrible, and I didn't have to take orders. I didn't have to do shit. All I had to do was carry coffees. And I couldn't do that. I was like shaking as I had the coffee, even just one, and it took me forever to get to the table. Turns out, by the way, the trick to carrying coffees is just confidence. Is literally it. You just need to pick it up and go. That's all you need to do. And I didn't have that. But on my first day, right, I had these they're like black trays that you could use to carry drinks, right? Mm-hmm. So you know how like you watch like movies and stuff, they got like the trays above their shoulder and shit, or you know, they're like moving around. Nobody does that. That's ridiculous. So you just hold it out in front of you. Usually you've got like your thumb on top, your 4 fingers underneath, and you just, you know, around like it's just a plate, right? I loaded up and I can tell you exactly what it is because it still haunts me to this day. It was a chocolate milkshake in one of the tins, so like the old
metal
milkshake
tins.
And and it had malt in it and a straw in it, and it was a green straw, and it was a bendy at the next straw, and a latte that was in a tall glass, on a saucer with a napkin sitting there and a long spoon next to it. And they were both on the tray, right? And I walked out to this table. And you have to appreciate this cafe, there's like an outside area and an inside area. So there's this walkway that runs through the center of the restaurant, and there's these two big doors that open up into like a garden area. And if you step off the main path, it's kind of like up about 2-3 inches. So you have to step down into the courtyard in the outside, right? So the milkshake latte table was outside. So I had to pick this up, walk along the length of the counter, then down the path, and then turn right, come off the path, walk forward another like 2-3 meters, and then place it down at the table. All right? Mm-hmm. I pick up this tray. I get it down the length of the counter. I go straight up the middle. I manage to get to the point where I have to step down, and I'm like, fuck, this is the hard part, right? Like getting down off this ledge, this is the really, really rough part because I'm changing elevations. Like that's going to mess with the tray. Turns out not that bad, right? You put your foot there and you kind of like you lower yourself down.
So you're overthinking
overall
this
the tray.
Very simple process. Yeah.
Exactly, right? I get over this hurdle and I'm like, holy shit, this is the best. It's finally turning my way after all my shitty coffees that I had earlier during the day. Like I would spill them just taking them to the table. Like I was that shaky. I was horrible. I'm filled, right, with this newfound confidence because I've just conquered this step, right? And I haven't spilled this milkshake or this latte. And the latte, by the way, is shaking like a motherfucker because not only is it on the tray, it's on a saucer on the tray. Yeah. Right? So it's like very shaky.
Rattling around like... Rattly.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they had like that long spoon on it, wasn't helping. Yep. It was making that like cling, cling, cling. Yep. Oh, jeez.
So that noise enough
my heart rate.
That's enough to like mess with you. Just that noise, that rattling fucking, yeah.
I'm telling the story, my heart rate's going up. Like just remembering this, I'm like, this is horrible. So I go down the set full of confidence. I'm like, yes, I am a god. This is the best. And I get to the table and I go to put the drinks down. Pro tip, Jim, for those of you that have never worked in hospitality, and maybe, have you worked in hospitality before? No. When you are placing a tray down, okay, your natural instinct will be to make contact with the table as soon as possible because then you're on a stable surface, all right? The thing that you have to avoid, which a lot of people do when they're putting plates down on tables, when you have a tray that's loaded with two tall items, is not to put the front end of the tray down first and then drop it. Do not tilt it. If you can, use your elbows and your arms to go straight down, or if you need to, bend at the knees. Me, being my first day, did not know this.
So you gave it a bit of a tip?
The tray tips... hits the table, okay? The milkshake goes over first. So the milkshake actually tips over. These tins, by the way, are like full-on liter milkshake tins, right? So this milkshake going over is already a fucking catastrophe. Goes over, spills all over the table. The chocolate milkshake goes everywhere. This lady I'm looking at, her eyes go wide, and her husband's on the other side, and he's like, oh, shit, right?
Yep.
It goes everywhere. As the milkshake tin is coming down, it's hit the saucer that the latte was sitting on. It's hit the saucer, which is then flipped up and got the latte glass to also go over. And the latte is poured out into this congealed, lukewarm, milky piece of shit mocha mess that's then exuded across the table. And I kid you not, James, directly into the woman's handbag. Not even like on her lap, not on the table, not on her like shirt. It went off the table into the inside of her handbag, and like not even a small amount, like about 400 mils of this milky mocha mess.
She gets to take half a drink home then with it. She's fine. It's not all wasted.
So my boss comes out and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let me get you soda water, blah, blah, blah." I'm freaking out. I'm like, holy fuck. I feel like I'm going to get fired day one. This is the worst. They ended up keeping me on, turns out. And the lady was actually super, super nice about it. But even still to this day, I remember that story. Bro, on the video podcast, you can see I've got like sweat from my armpits. It's fucking gross. Like just the anxiety. Dude, I keep in mind, I make like submissions that are the difference between someone spending like 8 months in jail and being able to see their children. And that does not make me nervous. Retelling a story from like 10 years ago now. Horrible. It's the worst. And that was my first day. That was day one working in a cafe. I did that. I did the milkshake incident. And I did not bring any boys to the yard. And it was not better than theirs.
See, I don't think...
It was a horrible mess.
I don't think I've ever fucked up that bad at work. Like, and it's caused problems for a customer. I think the worst fuck up I've ever had at work, I was lucky because I was working like in the area, like close by to home. It's like 5 or 10 minutes from where I lived. As I mentioned earlier, it wasn't part of my job, but I just enjoyed doing it, sitting in the passenger seat, farting and absolutely bombing out the cab while the guy driving just tried to breathe and survive with these fucking poo particles invading his nostrils. It became a thing where like I'd look at him, I'd look across him and go like, "Oh," and he'd know straight away. And he'd be like, "No," and he'd start like just frantically winding the window down because this truck was so old that it didn't have power windows. He's just like, trying to wind the fucker down.
He's like frantically got the fucking handle.
Yeah,
he's like,
and the handle's like it was unusually short. Like you remember the old winders? They're a good 3 to 4 inch or so long. Like they're long, so you can fucking get some wind on them. These ones were like barely 2 inches long. They were short handles. So it was like when you see a short-legged dog running after a ball. Going, like just fucking... So, I mean, the whole thing was pure comedy. Until the incident. I mean, this actually happened twice, but the first one was way worse. So...
Okay, go on.
My favorite thing to eat.
I'm so sorry. The image of your coworker fucking frantically getting the windows got me so good.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. So I gotta calm down.
All right. When you're ready, I'll continue the story.
I'm ready. Hit me with it.
So one of my favorite meals to eat, knowing that it was going to be hell on earth for Rob when he was trying to drive the truck.
I love that you pick your meals based on the fart capabilities.
Well, I was 16, so of course, that was hilarious to me. And I had fuck all else happening when I was in the cab at work. I could listen to music. Rob didn't really talk too much because he was like in his 30s. We had fuck all in common. We both liked Def Leppard and some other bands, but there's only so much you can talk about with that shit. So
can you imagine it from his perspective as well? He's like,
why does this
drive
kid
a truck to this company?
This fucking shithead kid eating stuff that he knows is going to make him fart. Why?
Why? Who's feeding him?
What did I do to deserve this punishment?
Is his mum Mexican? Why is this happening to me?
So the meal that gave me the worst. It gave me just the fucking worst farts. I used to order a large double Whopper meal. I would eat that whole thing. And I would also get 1 or 2 large onion rings as well. That was what really fucking set it off.
I was about to say the burger's the power, the onion rings the flavor.
Everything else is bad as well. But the onion rings really fucking tied the whole just
the piece de la
putrid
resistance
stench together. So this went on for months. I was doing this and just laughing my fucking asshole out while Rob is suffering. He used to hold one finger up too. I'm going to do this in the video. Like, you won't be able to see it, but he used to hold a finger like to his nostril, like just one finger, as if he was trying to do like a Hitler mustache. And I have no idea what that was meant to accomplish, because it didn't stop. It didn't block anything. It's just he would go like, oh, and then wind down the window and like try to drive one-handed with his fucking finger.
I got the fucking image in my head again. You know what the problem is? When you said short dog trying to run, now the image in my head is a corgi trying to wind down the window. I don't know why. That's a great image. If someone's good with Photoshop, please put that in the comments. I would love
corgi
that.
operating a fucking window winder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I want.
So yeah, I don't know if you can tell where this is going, but I was gearing up for a good one. I could feel it brewing for like 10 minutes. And then what I ended up with was like a good 3 or 4 seconds of solid like proper fucking sphincter ripping fucking fart, man. Like, it sounded painful. That was cut abruptly short.
I'm 26 years old. Fart jokes should not be funny, but it is.
I'm just like, this is what happened. This is how I fucked up at work. So this fart was just suddenly like and just stopped. And Rob, it's like Rob knew what happened before I did. He turns to me with his eyes wide open, and I looked back at him with more or less the same expression. And I went, oh. And he was like, no, you didn't. I said, I did. And he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Dropped a fucking nugget, man.
I'm fucking dying. I can't. Oh, that should not be as funny as that
small.
is. That's so good.
It was small, but it was there. Ugh. I had to go home. I had to hold myself off the seat, because I'm like, I'm not fucking mashing this thing out. I'm already... Mum's going to fucking scream at me, because there's no way that she doesn't find out. I'm 16 and she still does all my fucking washing because I live at home. It's going to be so out of character for me to do my own washing that she will stick her nose in. Like, why are you fucking doing... That's an expression to use there too. Why are you doing washing? What the fuck is happening? How did I then explain to her, look, I was torturing Rob with my farts and I shit myself, okay? I shit myself at work. That's what happened. I did end up having to tell her.
Oh, I love how Rob's just like, you did it.
You did.
Wait, hang on. You said this happened twice.
Yeah. So the second time, from that day, I started carrying 2 spare pairs of jocks in my bag when I went to work because I wasn't going to stop farting to torture Rob. I didn't learn what I did learn. But what I learned wasn't stop doing that. It's gross and you shit yourself. It was come prepared because you'll shit yourself. So the second time, I was like, haha, once we get back to the shop, I'm going to throw these jocks in the bin and just fucking put on a fresh set.
Oh my God.
I'm not bringing them home for Mum to find out that I did it again.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah.
And so it's what, this happened again in the truck? Or
yeah, I've got the exact same thing, basically. Only the meal was KFC this time. So it was like way greasier and just worse. Like it was a worse shit by far. But that's why I threw the jocks in the bin. I was like, there's no saving these. They're done.
I can happily say that I've
these undies need a fucking Viking funeral.
Oh, my chest hurts from laughing, which is not a great thing to say after I just got my second dose of the COVID vaccine. But oh man, holy crap, dude, that's nuts. That's ridiculous. My first job stories are like, oh yeah, I rearranged parts of furniture. I like rode my bike to work in the rain and hung my wet socks over the coffee machine. You're like, yeah, 8 onion rings and shit myself.
Farted so hard I shit myself at work. Had to go home to change my jocks.
Can we just talk about the fact that Rob probably tells this story to his mates? He goes, let me tell you about the time the 16-year-old shit himself in my cab.
It's funny because
for him,
that's happening. He'd be like, "Thank God this nightmare is over.
Yes.
He's never going to do
He's
this
like,
again." Nope. I'm just going to bring spare jocks.
He's so determined. Oh my God, dude. My heart. Holy moly, that's the best. Oh shit. Let's close out on that one because I don't think we can go up from there. I don't think we can go up. And I'm not kidding when I'm saying that the sweat is gross right now. Like it's so fucking
It's getting
hot
pretty
in my
toasty in this
office.
room. My drink's empty too, so
Combined with the anxiety I have telling the friggin' milkshake story. Holy moly. Let's have a look at the comments from
oh fuck, I don't have it open. I should open
the
it up.
return episode. No, it's all right. Biddy Corey Twitch says this is definitely what I needed when working out. Was one of the top comments. Thank you, Corey. Stalt, of course, has hit us with one of his infamous multi-time stamped comments. He says, at 2 minutes 30, season 2, Electric Boogaloo, which, by the way, Stalt, I very, very appreciate that. One, you're doing a great job with the thumbnails. Shout out to Stalt for the thumbnails for the NULLSCORE podcast on YouTube. If you haven't seen those, check them out. Two, but I should say, they were originally done by a mate of mine, Scarlett. Stalt has taken over them since, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, he does he does a really good job.
Yep. At 27, he says, look, I'm ready for my 12:30 meeting, Mr. Viscerous. Why is this chair so sticky? To comment on your house stuff, if I had lived alone, my house would basically be empty. My room would have a bed and a wardrobe in it. Another room would have all my computer shit. The rest would be empty. It's basically me.
Yeah.
That's basically my house. Like, I have a king bed in my bedroom and a bedside table. I've got my wardrobe, because it actually has a walk-in wardrobe, right? So all my shit goes in there. And then I've got my office, which obviously I'm recording from. I have my desk, my computer, and I actually have a couch in my office now. I moved one of my couches from the lounge room in here. And then I've got one couch in the lounge room and then kitchen stuff. It's like a fridge and that's the stuff. Oh, I've got a hammock out front as well. But that's it.
Fucking hammock?
Like, yep.
You hipster.
Yep. I bought a hammock back when I lived in Brisbane because we had some pillars there. It was really nice in summer to go out and lie there, and still is. Even in winter, it's actually really nice. Like, I will get in my hammock in like a hoodie and jeans, like in the morning in winter.
Depends how cold it is. Like, you say winter, but that's not really.
It's Toowoomba winter, so it's like 13 degrees.
Yeah,
like it's not horrible, but it's chilly. Veli says, I missed these voices, and Jazzballs says first.
Yeah. So I haven't played games with either of those guys in fucking forever.
It was fantastic to see a lot of people come out. I got a couple of messages as well. People were like, "Holy shit! Like, you're not dead," and I was like, "No,
just extremely busy." Well, that's the thing. Like, when you're as active as we both were for a long fucking time on Twitch and just in our Discords, we both kind of abruptly just left more like around within a month or two of each other. We've talked about this before. So yeah, people start to assume that something is wrong, something has happened, and it's like, for both of us, I think it was just that our outside lives, like our offline lives, just got really fucking busy. So we stopped. Something has to get pushed aside for the moment, and for me, it was games and my stream. Like my job and my kid and the other things that I have to deal with are more important than those things. They should take priority. Like, they should. Like, I'd like to say, this is a funny thing. This is something that we talked about very, very early on when we first started the podcast. It's part of the community thing. It's nice to maintain the friendships that you have made online, but sometimes it's difficult, like, balancing that with your real life stuff, because you can't be tied to your computer, to your desk. Like, no, there's other things that require your attention. Yeah, usually, and it's just shit that's going to take you away from this stuff. It's gonna fucking happen. Yeah, and that's not to say that I didn't like it or didn't love it. It's just like there's other things that when you stack them up, they need to get done before this gets done. Yeah, like this is very much a fun thing to do. But Veli actually made 2 other comments, but he hasn't timestamped them, so I don't know what they're for. One of them was Rusty Crotch Titan confirmed. I don't know what that's in response to, but yes, my crotch is very rusty. Yeah. Okay. New sponsor, Kinky's Arseless Chaps. Arseless chaps, I hate that. He knows. That's why he said that. He knows that I fucking hate that phrase. Chaps don't have asses in them. They're protection for the front of your legs. They don't. There should never be a set of chaps that has ass coverage. You don't need to protect your ass. That's not what chaps are for. That's what pants are for. Chaps don't have ass cover ever.
I love how you're just like, someone's going to be like, hey, so I thought I'd spice something up tonight and get some arseless chaps, and you're out there fucking screaming from the end of the bed, no, chaps are arseless, they're all arseless.
Because I feel like one of those guys that you walk past in Northbridge at fucking 10 o'clock who's just screaming at no one in particular. Like just yelling shit. I feel like a crazy person on the street. Oh, chaps are arseless. Like, maybe I just need to do a video of that. Go into Northbridge, wait till it's late and people are walking around. Find a busy place and just start screaming about how all chaps are arseless. There's no such thing as chaps with an arse.
Yeah, no. There's I've got nothing to say with that, man. That's all you.
Valley, is that the response you wanted, Valley? You wanted, that's what you wanted and you got it, I assume.
There you go.
Fuck.
Enjoy.
It's
in
hot.
any event, if you guys want to get a hold of us, you can on YouTube. There is, of course, the NULLSCORE YouTube channel, NULLSCORE. It's the name of the fucking podcast. And then there's a logo. It's like, is it red N and blue S? It's been a while. No, blue N, red S.
Yeah, I think so.
So you guys will see that. And that has all of our podcast episodes there. All of the season 1 stuff, all the season 2 stuff. You can also catch audio versions if you're not already listening to on that platform. Spotify, Google Play, like all the good audio platforms. We have a hosting service that does it for us.
There's also a link to the Discord
contact
if you want to. Yeah. If you want to send us your fucking job stories that are too long for the comments.
That's actually, I would love to do that. I would love to
just go to the Discord.
Read other people's first like job experiences or like worst experience they had at a job. I would love to read those on podcast. I feel like that would be hilarious.
There are channels at the bottom of the I'm pretty sure there's a link to the T5 Discord. At the bottom of all the channels, there's a NULLSCORE section. You can dump them in there, or you can DM Vis or myself. Doesn't really matter. However you want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both in there.
I'm really interested in hearing like some of people's like job stories are fucking. I've heard some good ones, but I don't want to recount them in case I miss stuff or forget sections. I don't want to fuck it up, you know?
Yeah. So if it's long story, short story, whatever, throw it in there and we'll have a look at it in the next one. But yeah, that's about the most of it. That's where you can catch us. Is there anything else I've missed? Is there anything I got to mention?
I don't think so.
I think that's all of it, right? No. Okay, well, that's NULLSCORE. It's been a pleasure, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah, next week. Maybe.
Yeah, next week, hopefully. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.
Cheers. Fuck you. Couldn't let that one go.
No, of course I couldn't. I mean, that's just how it's going to be, isn't it? We're going to do this when we have time, and that's all we can fucking do.
That's pretty much it. It's like the first time I genuinely did not have time. The second one, I just completely forgot. And then like this week, I dead set I had my COVID vaccine, and I've been to the gym twice today. I helped my uncle move. I had like a mate over for like games and stuff like early this morning. And then I was like, fuck, I've still got to do the podcast. I was like, oh, I can do it tomorrow. I was like, no, we're doing it today.
Oh, if we tried to do tomorrow, it probably wouldn't have got done because I'm going to a mate's place tonight to drink a lot of rum.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm so glad we got it done. So it's there.
It's a thing that's, I don't know, it's like some weird sort of anxiety about it every time. Like it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just like, fuck, I have to make sure that I have the time to do it and slot it in with everything else. And then once it's done, I'm like, yeah, this was good. Why was I
think it's a level of pride as well. Like you want to do a good job. You know, you want to get in here and be like, yeah, I want to be like upbeat for podcasts. Like I want to make sure that I've got energy and stuff to give.
That's why it's so important to me that episode 0 stays up forever, because whatever we put out, I can always get back to that and go, wow, look how much better this is what we're doing now.
That was horrible. Holy
fuck. I'm going to hit the button.
I'm going to hit the button.